And I do what God said do when he says do it. And then I sit down and shut up. That's the best way I can say it. I love the Lord because he heard my cry a long time ago, back in October, over 30 years ago. And I thank God because my birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But my birthday is in October on the 31st.
All right now.
So I got 2 birthdays.
Yes.
My natural birthday and my spiritual birthday. Let me tell you that my spiritual birthday means a lot more than my natural birthday. Yes, it does. I mean, I love both because I'm going to celebrate on both days. I love my mother and my father for not aborting this plan that they could have done, but they did not do. And I thank the Lord because he heard my cry in the wilderness and said, I'm here, daughter. Come and see me. Come just as you are. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything special. You don't have to jump through any hoops. I'm just talking to somebody right now.
Yes.
You don't have to jump through any hoops. You don't have to have a special hairdo. You don't have to have a special suit or a dress. You don't need fancy shoes. Just come as you are. And I will save your soul. Just talking to whoever it is that needed to hear that on tonight, that God said, just come as you are. I'm excited about God.
Yes.
Are you yet excited about Jesus? I'm excited about God. God's been too good for us to sit down on the Bible. We can jump up in the jump and God, I'm a groove on.
Yes. Come on now. Come on.
Watching a movie, seeing whatever else is going on, but it's a Friday night in the house of God. It's Friday night, folks. I don't know what you do on Friday night,
that's right,
but I want to praise God on this Friday night. I want to tell God thank you. I want to tell God I love you. I want to tell God I love you. I love you tonight, God. I adore you tonight. You're special, God. You're sovereign. Oh, God, I love you tonight on a Friday night. So those of you who like to dance, I hope you brought your dancers. For those of you who like to sing, I'm glad you brought your voices. Hallelujah. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I've heard, well, Lord, they didn't say what I wanted to say. They said what you told me to say. He said, you're going to say what I told you to say. I said, yes, Lord, I'm going to say what you told me to say. I love God. I thank the Lord for my sister. I thank God for her being just who she is. I love you. I love you. Oh my God. Jesus. Hallelujah.
Yes, bless God.
Jesus. Thank you, God. I love my brother.
Yes.
When God links folks together, he links folks together.
He surely does.
And he don't play games, and I'm not one. I don't like to fool around with a whole bunch of folk. When you start fooling around with a whole bunch of folk, you get into trouble. People become familiar, and they don't want to hear what you got to say. They don't believe that you believe what you believe. Because you in places you should not have been. Just because you're trying to be somebody's friend. You're doing things you know you should not do. Just because you want to be somebody's friend. I just want you to know that I love my friends, but I don't have to have a lot of them. I teach my children, I say, everybody ain't your friend. They say, well, my friend at school, that's an acquaintance. That's not your friend.
That's right.
Well,
A friend is someone who loves you through thick and thin. A friend is someone who loves you even when you mess up.
Yes, say that.
A friend is someone who loves you when it gets down and dirty and they're still there. They ain't talked about you yet. They ain't put your dirt out on Front Street yet. They ain't told them all about what you have done in the past life yet. They haven't said anything yet. That's a true friend. One who loves you when you cry. One who loves you when you smile. One who loves you when you're quiet and loves you when you're loud. One that loves you when you got your Mercedes Benz and one that loves you when you had your Booty.
Yes.
One that loves you when you had your cracker box house. And when God blessed you with 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. They still hanging with you. They didn't mind when you had bologna sandwiches and potato chips. And now you eating pork chops and green beans and macaroni and cheese. They still your friend. Every now and then they say, where that bologna sandwich we used to eat. That's a friend. But I know a man.
Yes.
Who sticks closer to you. I know a man who is better to us than we could ever be to us. One who said he is our friend and has not yet left. He never leaves us, nor does he forsake us. He is our friend. Till the end. And since he is the beginning and the end, he is our friend. Hallelujah. Are you excited about it?
Yes, God.
My plan is not to be before you long, but I'm going to be up here as long as God says. I don't like to put time limits on the Holy Ghost. But we also don't like to try the patience of the people. But since it's Friday night in the house of God. Oh, Sister Kim, it's Friday night.
Yes, it is.
We're going to talk about broken to be used.
Okay.
Deal with it, deal with it.
I've been dealing with this since last year. Oh, Jesus. What you want me to say? I said, okay. He gave it to me, so we're going to look at Gideon and then we're going to look at Luke. I like to look at the Old Testament and the New Testament. And then we're going to pull this together, Holy Ghost. Amen? Amen. Amen. Gideon, the 7th chapter. We're going to look around the 18th. And if y'all don't mind, when you get that, you'll say amen. Gideon, the 7th chapter. Around the 18th. I'm sorry, Gideon. Judges, the 7th chapter.
I was looking like I
was about to say. But it's right behind
tripping.
the
I was like, I gotta go back.
I
was tripping.
You made me turn to my table of contents.
I was tripping myself.
You know what? That's a shame. It's a shame.
table of contents is not there. It's not there.
Yeah.
When you got lost in the book. So we're going to go to Judges, where the judges talked about Gideon. I told you I was excited.
That's all right.
That's
all right.
It was just a test. It was just a test.
I'm glad I thought enough not to spend an hour looking for it. Judges, the 7th chapter. We're going to look around the 18th verse. If y'all pray with me just for a moment. Father God, we just thank you, God, because you're so kind, you're awesome, you're mighty, and you're wonderful. You are the everlasting Father and the Prince of Peace. You are my Jehovah.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Oh, God, my healer.
Yes, God.
You are the El Shaddai. And you is everything that I would ever have. You are the Adonai.
Hallelujah.
You are my Abba, Father.
Yes, God. Hallelujah.
Daddy.
Jesus, Jesus.
Sometimes we just need our Daddy. And Lord, I thank you for being there for me, for us. Thank you for loving on us, God, even when we didn't feel like anybody or anything ought to love us. But you loved us still.
Yes, God.
We thank you, Father, that you sent your Son to Calvary's cross. That he had a mind to say, I'll go and shed his blood and died for our sins, that we might have a right to the tree of life. Lord, I thank you for the opportunity to stand before your people. Oh God, and now I just ask that you would bless me, oh God, that I would give what you have for me to give, to say what you have to say and do what you say to do. Bless this your people, oh God, that sit here under your word, that sit here and hear what you have to say, oh God, and not only hear it, but become doers of your word. Lord, I thank you tonight. I bless your name. I give you all honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. pastor Church of the Living God, Filling Ground of Truth, located on 46th and Emerson in Indianapolis, Indiana. To my husband, Elder David E. Brittain. Amen. We've been married for 30 years. Amen. Amen. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? Yes. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Judges, the 7th chapter. Let's move on. And I'm glad for the mic because I don't really talk loud.
No, you don't.
But I can't get my point across. Yes, you can. Judges, the 7th chapter. And 18, 19, and 20. The 18th verse says, when I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. This had already been worked out between God and Gideon. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came onto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had but newly set the watch. And they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers, and held the lamps in their left hands, and the trumpets in their right hands, to blow withal. And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Now I want to talk about tonight the process. There is a process to be broken, to being broken. I'm going to say that right. There is a process when it comes to being broken in the Lord. And sometimes we look at broken as a bad thing. I got a broken heart, I got a broken foot, I got a broken head, I got a broken hand. I'm feeling some type of way about my feelings, so we got broke feelings. But I want to talk about the good part of being broken and what it takes to be broken. And we can see here in Gideon that they had to break the lamps that were around the light. And I just want y'all to hold on to that because we're going to flip over to Luke. And I'm going to read Luke, the 24th chapter. And we're going to dive into this process. And we're going to clap our hands and go home. Amen.
Amen.
St. Luke, the 24th chapter. We're going to read start at the 13th verse. St. Luke, the 24th chapter says, and behold, 2 of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 80 furlongs. And they talked together of all these things which had happened. And they were talking about the resurrection of Christ. And it came to pass that while they commanded together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. And he said unto them, what manner of communications are these that you have one to another as you walk and are sad? And the one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering said unto him, art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem? And hast not known the things which are come to pass there in these days? And he said unto them, what things? And they said unto him, concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the 3rd day since these things were done. Yea, and so just bear with me. Yea, and certain women also of our company make us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. And when they found not his body, they came saying that they had also seen a vision of angels which said that he was alive. And I'm going to skip over to 27 or 28. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. So he's still walking with the two men on the road to Emmaus. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it and brake and gave to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight.
Wow. Did not our heart
Make it make sense, preacher. Come on.
Broken to be used. Gideon had to downsize his army. He had 30,000 men that were willing to fight with him. But God said, you got too many folk around you. And everybody ain't all that you think they are. And so we need to loose them and let them go. And so we told him what the first round was going to be. And so we lost some of the men. And then he told him, Gideon, he said, it's still too many, it's still too many, it's still too many. You still got too many people around you. And God said, well, take them to the water.
That's what he said.
And whichever one cups their hand and drinks. Watch that group. And then those that just dip their head in the water and lap. Watch those. That group. And when all was said and done about the licking and the lapping, God said, those that cupped, take them. And it ended up being about 300 men. So he went from 30,000 to 300. Now, if you know anything about the Midianites, there was a whole bunch of them. And it seemed like the right thing to do was to take the 30,000. So that it would look like we might be able to defeat them. But how many of you know it don't take all of that with God?
That's right. Amen, amen.
The Bible says the battle is the Lord's, it's not ours.
Yeah.
If we would just be obedient to God and follow the process. Gideon followed the process. He was obedient to God. He did everything that God told him to do, even to the downsizing of the army. And I tell you, when he took those 300 men, he gave them trumpets, each and every one of them. And then they had pitchers, which are the globe that you put your light in. And so they couldn't see them coming. Ain't it good when the enemy can't see you coming? They thought they had you, but they didn't really have you. There's a whole bunch of folk talking about you over here. There's about 30,000 of them over here talking about you. Saying this and saying that you ain't this and you ain't that. You ain't gonna never be anything but what you are right now. You your daddy's child or your mama's child.
You better come on
now. Ain't gonna amount to anything.
Come on.
But God said, just follow the process, follow the process, follow the process. Don't get weary in well-doing, follow the process. Don't worry what it looks like. Yes, they're all angry. They got pitchforks and knives, and they got machetes. They're coming after you.
My God.
So it would seem. But let me tell you something. They are more scared of you than you are of them. And when it looked like they got you, God says, downsize, downsize. You got too many folks. 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 You got to downsize. So those that were not your real friends, they're just acquaintances. It's okay to let them. It's okay. When you got those that said they were your husband or your wife, but they really wasn't everybody else's husband and wife, but they're not your husband. It's okay to let them go too. So we're going to drop them also. And those that don't cut but just laugh, the ones that don't pay attention. They got their face so deep in what they doing, they can't watch for you. I don't need you on my team.
I don't need you on my team.
I don't need you in my army. We'll find something else for you, but it's not.
It's not this. That's right.
I need somebody that's going to watch. I need somebody that's going to pray. I need somebody that's going to look at me every now and then and make sure I'm not cut up and bleeding. I need somebody that's going to make sure I'm not broken down and falling down along the way and just left me. But while you got your face stuck in the water, you can't see that I fell down 3 miles ago. And you didn't even know what happened to me. You didn't even care. You didn't even look back not one time. And then they said, well, she's still back there. She's still back there. Oh, she'll be all right.
That's the Lord Jesus.
There's some other folks back there. They'll get her.
My God.
It wasn't even your mission. How you going to go ahead of me?
Right.
But since you wanted to be all that, you can't be on my team.
You can't be on my team.
There's a process
Talk to me, minister.
to this praise. You have got to know who's supposed to be with you and who's not.
Amen.
Yes, it hurts to let some people go every now and then.
Oh my. Here we
Yes,
go.
it's hard to cut those ties. Yes, it's hard to shake the dust from your feet. Yes, it's hard to say, you know what, I can go by myself today. It's all, I'm gonna be all right. But you know, you can't. You need me. You need me to, because you don't speak up very loud. You need me to talk for you. I don't need you to talk for me.
I don't need you.
I don't need you on my team.
My God.
Jesus.
Well, you know, this is what they used to say about you. You know, you know you walk funny. I need to come by just in case you start.
Come on now.
You know, you need me to hold you up.
Come on.
I don't need you on my team.
team.
I got 2 good legs. And
Uh-huh.
people say, oh, I can't stand you. You know, when I told myself I got 2 good legs, I can stand myself. I don't need you on my team. And so since he got them down to the 300, then he blessed them with the trumpet and with the picture and the light. And when they did all that he said, when he said blow the trumpet, they all blew their trumpet at one time. Isn't it a high time in God when we all get together and we open our mouths and we begin to praise God and we begin to tell God how great and wonderful he is. We begin to tell God how awesome that he is, and we lift up one voice unified and tell God that he's great. You're awesome and you're mighty. We love you and we adore you. You are the sovereign God and there is none beside you.
Yes, God.
Stand alone. And you don't need anybody. You don't even need me, God.
Come on.
But you chose me.
Ain't that it?
And I'm thankful for that.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, God.
But it's awesome when the people of God get together on one accord.
Yeah.
And lift up the name of Jesus. Things begin to happen.
Yes.
Things begin to happen today. We lifted up our voice together and we ran and we shouted and we danced and we clapped our hands and we sang the songs of Zion and things began to happen. There was deliverance in this place.
Yes, it was.
And God said, it's good when we do that. So if you want to be on my team, you have to be able to follow the rule. You have to be able to follow the process.
Have to be able.
Oh, God.
You don't come to my house and bring your dinner that you're going to cook in my kitchen.
Come on.
Because you didn't like what you thought I might make.
God.
This is my house.
Yes.
How about so?
And in this house, this is what we do in this house.
Yes.
If you can't abide by the rule of this house, then you don't even have to grace my door. I'm not trying to be funny, but I need to let people know that I just can't let anybody in.
Yes.
I just can't let any kind of spirit come in.
Come on now.
We say out of our mouths, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. But you just let anybody come into the house.
Let anybody in.
Ooh, Jesus.
You let anybody grace your porch and stand there knocking on the door. Can we come in? Well, sure, come on in. My great-grandmother used to say when you pulled up, she'd say, y'all get out and come in. And that's what we tell, y'all get out, come on in. Come on in. And then they bring their own agendas into my house. We already got a plan and a purpose.
Jesus!
But you wanted to bring your agenda to my house and say, but what you should do is. Well, what I would have done is. Well, if it had been me and my spouse did this, this is what I would have done. That's why you don't have a spouse right now.
Wow.
You said that.
Yes, she did.
It is a process. You have to follow the process.
That's why.
And it's all right to tell people, you know what, I let you in, but I'm going to have to let you out.
My God.
You come in the front door, I'm not letting you out the back. I don't want you walking all through my house dropping stuff. The same for the house of God. We don't just let anybody come in and grace pulpits and start.
Come on!
You don't come up in here and tell people in what you think and your opinions and your thoughts and your agenda. We got a pastor. You can't be on my team. You can't come in here and tell me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, because this is what you believe God said. No, I know what it says. It says it right here. Study to show your own self-approval. Not one who believes what everybody else says, and then you start falling and faltering. Then you wonder why everything's going awry. Because you didn't follow the process.
That's right.
Follow the process, and that's why you can't. You got your face stuck in everybody else's business.
Come on.
You can't be on my team and be in everybody's business. Sister Kim's business. Well, you let her on the team, I sure did. Well, don't you know that? I don't need to know that. What I need to know is that she trusts God. That's all I need to know. All that stuff you talking about, if you want to talk about it, it's your business. But Joe, don't bring it here. You can't be on my team.
Amen.
My brother said, I don't like gossip. I don't like gossip. That's just ridiculousness. It's foolishness. It's silliness. It's unnecessary and it's retarded.
Call it what it is. Come on, man.
Can we just cut it out?
Yes.
And stop it. Everybody's done something sometime in their life.
Amen.
You messed up, flipped up, fell down, jumped up. I don't know.
That's it.
You done it. Somebody did it. I messed up. I ain't scared about it. I ain't ashamed of it. It wasn't the right thing to do, but right now I'm not ashamed of it because I already talked to God about it.
Come on now.
Amen.
So if you want to bring it up, Mr. Past, you come on and talk to me. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Past, that it's just that.
In the past.
You can no longer hurt me with it because I won't allow you to.
That's good.
You can't be on my team.
My God.
Mr. Past, it's a process. It's a process. And so Gideon did all that God told him to do. And so when they break,
The picture.
we're talking about the breaking. There was a light inside that picture. Nobody could see it. So they could just walk up on the enemy like a stealth bomb. Enemy don't even know. They got trumpets, y'all. But you don't blow them until they say blow. You know how sometimes you tell kids, don't do it until I tell you to do it.
And they do it too
Next thing you know, as soon as you turn around, And the enemy's like, oh, there. Why don't we know he was here yet? So you got to be quiet. I said, sometimes can we just shut up? Just shut up. Shut your mouth. Just close it. You don't have to have a word every time you walk into the church.
Come on, yeah. Thank you.
You don't have to have something to say every time you come into the house of God. Can you just be silent?
Woo, Jesus, hallelujah.
The Bible says the Lord is in his holy temple.
That's what it says.
All the earth.
That's Bible preacher.
Yes, it is. That's word.
Lord have mercy. And so they did all that they were supposed to do. They followed the entire plan and process. And when the time came to blow the trumpets, they blew the trumpets and they broke the picture around the light. And then the light showed forth. And those trumpets were blowing and the lights were shining. And the enemy said, look at that little bit of them. That little few. We know it's 300, but to them it probably looked like 3 or 4. Y'all gonna come in and beat us down with your little selves. But you didn't know that Daddy was behind.
Underestimated me.
And you didn't know that Daddy had already come and defeated you all before you even knew that he had arose and came and had already got us the victory. We were already victorious. We had already won. We were already the winners. We're not losers. We're winners. Even when we look like we're defeated, God said, oh no, it ain't so. You are yet victorious. We are overcomers. We're not just survivors. We are overcomers. So when people say I'm this kind of survivor and I'm that kind of survivor, when you tell me that, I say, do you know Jesus? And they say, yes, I know who Jesus is. And I say, you're not a survivor, you're an overcomer.
Come on.
You don't just peek out in existence when you know God. God said that we have an abundant life. So you have to be an overcomer. That means you came over more than what they thought you would. You came out better than what they thought you would. When God said, go back in and get the spoil. Go get all the gold and go get all the silver. Go get all the food. Get all the spoils.
Get it all.
Hallelujah.
Leave nothing unturned.
Nothing.
I made a way for you. The people looking at you, why are you driving a Benz? Why you got a new house?
That's what they say.
See, it's not about the materialistic thing, but it's about knowing who your creator is, knowing who your provider is. I was happy in my 1994. It ran, took me from A, B, and sometimes C. But when God said, no, go over there. Won't he do it, brother? Go over there.
Yes, he will.
And they're going to tell you to give them $5,000 down.
Ain't got it.
You tell them, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, well, God, you know you got to take money when you go. He said, take me.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Take me. So if you trust God enough and you take me, and they say, well, sir, we need 3,000 of your dollars. And you're like, no. I don't have 3,000 of my dollars to give you. And I said, well, do you have anything?
No.
He said, well, I got everything, but I'm not giving it to you.
Love that.
Yes, sir.
Love that. Not everything.
But I want to like that tonight. Come on.
Yes.
And then you drove off in your Mercedes.
Come on now.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
He'll do it. I'm driving my car and give him nothing.
Come on.
I went and said, this is what I want. You still got it on the lot? Yeah. You got it? I said, well, you traded in your car, you got it? I said, yeah. I said, well, we're going to take that and cash that in. And you got $1,000 more? I said, He said, well, you go ahead and write that check. I said, no, I will not. He said, well, you go ahead and write that. No, you're going to have to write that out. We need to get, I said, well, I'll just go to another dealership then. They, oh, no. Let's go to the back. We're going to come back up to the front. So they went to the back, came back up to the front, said, sign these papers, put my 2 keys on the counter. I picked up my keys, went out. They walked around and said, is this all you want? I said, yes, it is. And I got in my car and I drove off.
I know that's right.
Guess where my $1,000 was still at?
In your pocket.
In the bank. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Follow the process.
Follow the process.
Follow the process. Now let's talk about those 2, Cleopas and his friend that were walking on the road to Emmaus. So now y'all watching y'all's team members, right? You're watching your team members. You're making decisions now of who can and cannot be on your team, and you're not afraid to tell people you can't be on my team. You can't be on my team. We good right there, right?
Yeah, we good. We good.
You got your light shining. You got your trumpet ready to blow. Let's talk about the 2 men on the road to Emmaus. So when you're going to be broken, I just don't want to be broke. Fall down, I'm hurt. No, God, I still want you to use me, God. I still want to be useful to the kingdom. I don't want to be dragging my leg behind me. I don't want to be like Mephibosheth when they didn't even know that he was injured, because when he sat under the table, you didn't even know his
Didn't even know.
I want them to see me for who I am, not what they think.
Come on.
I want them to see me for who I am, not what they heard. They heard I was crippled and lame, but I still can be useful in the kingdom. They heard that I can't sing a note. Jesus, I wish I could. But I'm still useful in the kingdom. So these 2 men were walking on the road to Emmaus, and they were talking about Jesus and all that was going on. And so they didn't even know that they had met up with Jesus, because he blinded them so they wouldn't know who
He was.
There's a process, because if they had known right away, then we wouldn't be getting down to the meat of this text.
Oh, Lord.
And so he walked with them. Won't he walk with you a little way?
Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
And sometimes you don't even know it's Jesus. You just going on, you feel all good about everything, and you just are walking. Feeling all right. How you doing? I'm good. How about yourself? It's all happy. So here these 2 men are, they're walking with Jesus, and he said, well, what are you talking about? You don't know? You don't know what happened with Jesus of Nazareth? Well, what happened? Are they telling him all about him? He said, I know. They said, this man must be crazy. Now, where has he been? All this stuff going on. All these things happening, these miracles and all these things, and then they want to try to crucify him. Where have you been? It's noised about everywhere. But you the one that don't know about it? Well, let us tell you about it. That's how we do. Girl, you didn't know? Well, let me tell you what you didn't know. And we do that, and we like to add stuff in. Sprinkle a little bit here, sprinkle a little bit there. And we all astonished. Really?